Shalom, peace be with you. Wherever you are, I would like to greet you in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. I'm glad that I have this opportunity to answer some of the questions related to the book of Revelation. And then, of course, because the questions still related to the issue which is going on right now, which is like coronavirus and also the vaccine. And also, I don't know whether in your country still has prophet, they make prophecy, the prophecy and the prophesy, and then it nothing happened, and it doesn't take place. So, but anyway, some people they still keep doing that, but we need to understand actually Bible deeper and then have clear thinking about what Bible say rather than like praying and then searching some like inspiration. It is good though, but we have the Bible. We can study the Bible, and through our study, Holy Spirit can inspire us to understand Bible according to their context. So by praying alone is not enough, especially when we want to study the book of Revelation. It takes us a lot because it has a lot of like symbols, numbers, which is hard to understand in our thinking. So the dangers is when we try to understand the book of Revelation in our ways. I will explain later why I say this because I remember maybe few weeks or a month after I got born again, I heard the teaching about like the mark of 666 or the marks or the mark of the beast. So that's why in this presentation I make the title the mark 666 biblical and theological study. So my purpose actually to answer the question which is I had it before because I myself actually keep asking, is it true that the mark of the beast related to microchip? You know, so this issue has been raising recently, and then also right now with the vaccine, it has like the barcode in it, and then it gives like some fear or threatening Christian. So this is the dangers because we read the book of Revelation in our perception without going deeper to the context and then without going to see what actually it says. This is when we learn deeper and then we see the context and then we try to understand what the author intended to say. This is we call exegesis. But without doing anything, we try to 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 force. I say this way, you know, we input, we try to put our mind to the Bible. That we call the exegesis. So I try to explain this verse because I want to help us before I explain what I'm going to explain. I want us in the same thinking. I mean, I want us in the same page. So my expectation is you you understand the book of Revelation better. So again, I'm trying here. I'm not saying that I'm the best, but I just want to share what I have learned, and then I I already make sure that this is very biblical. That's why the first I make the approach is biblical approach, and then we will see the theological approach. Okay, let let us open our Bible. I already put in the presentation. Uh, is Revelation 13, verse 18. This call for wisdom, let the one who has understanding calculate the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. So the number of the beast actually is the number of the man. Okay, so and then the number is 666. Actually, without going deeper, just to read it slowly, we understand that the beast is equal to the man. So the question is, who is the beast? Uh, is he an antichrist to come, or he was? So that is the question. It is called the book of Revelation because it reveals hidden things. Otherwise, it should be called the hidden. So, if we read truly the book of Revelation, we will see the book of Revelation reveal about God, Jesus Christ, Holy Spirit, heaven, hell, Satan, and the end of the age, and also the future, and many more. But the challenging when we study the book of Revelation, we see a lot of number, we see a lot of symbols, and that's why we have difficulty to understand the book of Revelation. Now the question is, why is it hard to study the book of Revelation? The author is John the Apostle. He is a Jew. So he wrote also include Gospel according to John, also first, second, and the third John. So the reader is a Jewish believer and perhaps also include non-Jewish believer. But primary his reader was Jew. So in order to understand the book of Revelation better, we should think as John and his readers thinking simply is Jewish thinking. So in the on the other word, we need to understand some of the part of the culture, the Jewish culture, I mean, to help us to understand what John what John intended. I mean, John has intention when he say like the number of the beast, and then he said the number is 666. Actually, it is like a sign, it is like a secret language actually. But since John uh, knows his reader, when he say like the number of the man is 666, the reader understood exactly who he was talking about. Again, when John speak to his reader about the mark of the beast and the number of the man, and the number is 666, the reader understood who was John speaking. They know that about who. They know exactly. I mean, like you and your family, or you, your spouse, or you, your friend, you have your own sign, which is maybe you have your own secret language, which is other doesn't know. The reason is if John speak directly, or I mean literally mention the name of the man, it will be it will it will bring, or it will cause many problems to the congregations, include to John himself. So John tried to write down to make it secretly to others, but in his reader is not a secret. Now you understand me right now. So what I'm trying to say is we need to understand John's intention when he wrote this verse. So okay, before we go further, I will like to share Antichrist in John thinking. So because like I remember when I the first time I heard about this, that the beast is Antichrist. I remember that. And then so since I am new believer, I don't have enough knowledge to understand, I just receive it. Whatever they say, I believe, I receive. So as time goes on, I learn, I study the language, I study the Bible, and then my knowledge is growing and have better understanding. So I want to show you Antichrist in John thinking. So If we look up your Bible, type Antichrist, but in my Indonesian Bible, it has four times Antichrist. You'll find it in, I mean, in John thinking, okay, not only in the book of the John, okay, like John, Gospel according to John, Revelation, and also First, Second, and the Third John. So that's why this is you find it four time Antichrist. So First John 2:18 to 22, 4:3, and Second John verse Second John 1:7. So we will look up. We will see First John. Okay, we I would like at this moment to save some time. I just want to see verse 18. Okay, children, in the last hour, and just as you have heard that Antichrist is coming, even now many Antichrists has arisen, by which we know it is the last hour. So this is John wrote again when he said that Antichrist is coming. So not will come, but it is coming. That means the Antichrist on the way. If we see here is the Greek word antichristos. This is singular, and also here now. So we heard that Antichrist is coming. So should be one Antichrist is coming. But even now, he say many Antichrists. Here the word Antichristoi, ruler. So we 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 can conclude from here in John thinking, I mean, or in his thought, the first the first anti-Christos mean for in John thinking is wait, is a religious, not no also political. Okay, so it doesn't have to be religious, but also political leader who want to oppose or to substitute Christ. So this is the first word anti-Christos. But when he say anti-Christoi, which is fuller, that is false teacher and false prophet who spread false teaching and false prophecy. So in 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 his thought, Antichrist, the Antichrist can be a leader or a religious leader or political leader. And then the second is false teacher and false prophet. And now we understand that when he said the beast, it should not be referred to Antichrist, should be referred to a man. A man. So and very specific. We will see, okay? Each culture, it has its own numerology. Yeah, numerology. Jews, in Jews, they have gematria. In Chinese, they have feng shui. I don't know whether you have it in your own, but in my culture, we have also like numerology. So each culture might mention it different way and also understand it in different way. So that's why I say in the beginning we have to think or we have to read it according to the context when John wrote the book of Revelation or when the first reader read the book of Revelation. So we need to understand that first. Okay. I will go step by step and we will see. Okay. In order to understand the book of Revelation, we have to deal with the number according to Jew. This is two according not two. According to Jewish numerology or gematria. So we might don't have sufficient knowledge like about gematria, but at least we have the clue. Actually, that will help us also. So it doesn't mean we have to master gematria first and then we can understand and then we can understand better the book of Revelation. Even if we know a little bit, we understand a little bit, it will help us. So in this case, I'm not trying to force you to learn gematria, but if you have time, if you have access and also have references, that will be very recommended. But at least we have the clue a little bit, okay? Okay. So if we like I like to use different in the beginning when I was try to use English Bible. Actually, the first time I like NIV, and then as time goes on, I learn, and then I found out I discover like there are few translation which is good actually. So one of them is ESV, which is I know one of the men who translated it, and I I had few of his book. Of course, he already passed away, and then that's why until now I like ESV and also NIV because it was the first Bible I had. Okay, but majority I use English Standard Version. So in English Standard Version, it is written actually 666. But in the Greek text, in the original Greek text, I mean, you won't find it 666, but you will find it chi si stigma. Again, chi si stigma. It was converted to number 666 or 666. It is about 5 to 6 centuries. So before 5 6 century, still T stigma. So this is one of the texts. This is text receptus. It has here T stigma. Okay, and then if we go to Bible Hub, we will see strong concordance, and then this is very, I mean, this is very honest. It is written here, original word, key, C, stigma. So 666. But now we understand right now that the original text, it doesn't has triple six, but T C stigma. Okay. And now the question, who is triple six river to? Okay, I should change this one. Okay, because wait a minute, just to make it fast. Okay, I should now, since we have already the correct one, so we the question is, who is Chi Sigma River 2? That will be the best one, okay? Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Mm, again, I want to to repeat it to make it clear that when we study the book of Revelation, we need to understand it in the Jews gematria. I mean, because John and his reader understand it is Jews thinking. So when we read it in the English translation, so if you look at here, uh, I like, as I said before, I like ESV and NIV. You have known it. It is written literally triple six, but if we read the original text, it is actually G stigma. Okay, so this is the text receptus. Also, we see here, I, I made it red, G stigma. And then if we go to Bible Hub, it is very honest, it's strong concordance. It is written there, original word is T stigma. So now the question is, who is T stigma river to? Okay, that will be the good question for us. Okay, before I answer it, stigma in Greek thought. Okay, stigma in the Greek thought, I haven't translated it to English. It is a mark or a brand. Okay, this is Indonesian. It is a mark for a slave, also mark for a soldier. If it is a mark for the slaves, we will discover the slave owner. If the mark is in the soldier, we will find out who is his commander. But again, this is in Greek thought. I would like to point out that though John wrote in Greek, but his thinking was a Jewish thinking. So he didn't write it down in Greek thought, but he write it down it in Jewish thought. So that's why we need to see how chi stigma later on in Jewish thinking. Okay, here's chi stigma. Okay, so in John thinking, it is not triple C, but it is chi C stigma. Okay, Apostle John is a Jew, should be a Jew. Okay, his thinking should be is Jewish thinking or Jewish thought. Apostle John wrote Revelation in Greek in Jewish thinking. So chi stigma should be understood in reader mindset or in their context. Apostle John gave a, a grammatica quote again. Apostle John gave a grammatica code to his reader. It was like a secret language to others, but to the Jewish reader will would understood that John speak about Caesar Nero. In Aramaic, Neron Caesar, Hebrew, Nero Caesar. So, so when John speak about the number, he was speaking about Caesar Nero. So he didn't speak about the person who is coming maybe before the rapture, maybe before 10,000 years. As I mentioned before, as I mentioned before, that John is speaking about the person who is real in his time, who was real in his time. So when John spoke about this stigma, his reader will know immediately that John was speaking about Caesar Nero or Neron Caesar in Arabic. So so we will prove it in gematria. Okay, okay, this is gematria. So each of the Hebrew alphabet it has number. Like Aleph, it is number one, and also there's a Paleo. Paleo is like sign language, pictograph. Okay, pictograph language. So it has picture. Like look at here. Here is the head of the head because uh, head. So in Hebrew is Ros. So it is number one, Aleph. So number one. So if you check here like bet, it is two. Now we will see Neron Caesar. Okay, since he also John also was influenced by Aramaic, so he spoke about Neron Caesar. You get here, and 50, and then res 200, and then O 6, and then N 50 again, and then here key cough 100, and then S 60, and then res again 200. So if we total the number is 666. So we prove here in Gematria that John was speaking about Neron Caesar. But if he wrote in it without influence of Aramaic language, it will be 660 because it will be Nero Caesar. So uh, there is no n here, so should be 1 as 616. So should, but if we study more about the the copy of the original text, I mean when it is copied, so we find a lot of manuscript. So most of the manuscript speak about triple six, yeah, 666. I mean G stigma rather than 616. Okay, so now again we found out that John was speaking Neron Kesar. Okay, and now we as I said before, I will also want to share a little bit. Okay, so Nero hated Christians so much. So Nero blamed Christian for burning the city. The Christian was persecuted. Were persecuted. I mean, and then this was the reason persecution in the early church. So that is the number. But again, as I mentioned before, like in John thinking Antichrist, the first is maybe religious or political leader, and in this case, Caesar Nero can be counted as Antichrist because he hated Christians so much. And also, of course, he hated also Christ. But in the context of false teacher or false prophet, it is not that in the context. So the verse is speak about Nero, and then of course it is still relevant until today because there is possibility a leader will be arise like Caesar Nero. He hated Christian, and then he wanted to, and he claimed himself as a Messiah or as anointed one or as the Christ, also maybe as a God. Still possible. But again, as I said before, we call it revelation because it reveals something. So for us, actually, we just need more extra effort to understand it better. Okay. Now, when we speak about the mark, okay, also it calls all, both small or great, both rich and poor, both free or slave, to be marked on the right hand or the forehead. So I have been born again like almost 22 years. Until today, I still hurt, but I still see that some people believe that the mark will connect it to microchip, okay, microchip, or right now vaccine, and also barcode, because the microchip will be implanted in our head, in our forehead, I mean, or in our hand. But the question is there any relationship between the mark on the Bible and the microchip, or any barcode, or any vaccine? I mean, I myself, actually, I have also burden to share this, because I have heard this teaching so much, and then it takes time for me to study. I mean, I study slowly but slowly, and make sure, find out the resources to help me to understand better about the mark. Actually, one day I was on the way with my friend to go to our campus, and then we spoke about this microchip. And then I asked him, he did not matter to be implanted with the microchip. I was curious about that. That was the point. I take time to study. Is there any relationship between the mark on the Bible and the microchip, which is about to implant it in our hand, or any barcode? I don't know whether you have kind of this teaching in your country or not. I don't know. You know better than me. But I want to point out, before I say there is no relationship, again, as I said before, we need to understand it in the way John and his reader think, or simply we need to understand how the first reader understand the book of Revelation. That will help us a lot. Again, we need to understand this, the mark here, according to understanding the first reader of the book Revelation. In that way, we need to understand some of the culture or ceremonial or belief in Jew. Again, since of course most of the Bible, most of our Bible is Jewish thinking or Jewish thought, we need to understand that way. Otherwise, we will make a lot of mistake. Okay, let's go deeper. Okay, let us compare it with Deuteronomy 6, verse 8. You shall bind them as your sign on your hand, and they shall be as frontlet between your eyes. So this is this verse right after Shema Israel. So verse 4, Shema Israel, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. So these signs are very important in Jews because this is a common. This is the common for the Jew. And by put on their sign in their hand and in their forehead, that is the sign for them about the sign for obedience, the sign of faithfulness. We will see deeper later on. So this mark is called tefillin. Tefillin is not, we don't find it in the Old Testament. We find it only in New Testament in Matthew 23 verse 5. It is Jewish rabbinic term. So tefillin has been used more than 2,000 years ago. So more than 2,000 years ago. So when the first reader of the book of Revelation, when they read the verse, they understand that John was speaking about tefillin. Again, tefillin is an obligation to wear during the worship. Okay, I will show you some picture here. So okay, this is tefillin. This is in the forehead. This is in the right hand. So there is different name for it. Okay, there are two types of tefillin. Tefillin set yad is for left hand. Okay, and then tefillin shel ros. Remember, I said before, ros or res is head. So also it called patam. We found it in Exodus 28:38. So now I can say to you, this is tefillin set ros. This is tefillin red yeah. So they put it on left hand. So whenever they worship God, whenever they have service or ceremonial, they have to put on it in their hand and their forehead because tefillin is a sign of faithfulness to the Lord. Tefillin is a sign of honor during worship time. By, I mean, like, by neglecting it or without wearing it, it is, it will be a sign of like disrespectful or offense or disobedient. So when John speak about the mark, the first reader understand that John was speaking about the feeling. But if we pay attention here carefully, okay, The mark is on the right hand. The question is, what does mean in the right hand? Because if we look at this picture, and then to according to the Jews, it should be in the in the left hand. You see, even the man, the woman should be here is in the in the left hand, but and this verse say in the right hand. What does mean for a Jew? That we need to understand first. What is the meaning for the Jew? Mark on the right hand is an act of unfaithful to God. So, and also it is an act of disrespectful or offense to God. So, if a Jew, I follow exactly like I don't know whatever reason, if they they wore the mark in the right hand, that means they are unfaithful to God. But I don't believe they will do that. But again, so now we found out that when John speak about the mark or the feeling, he was saying that if any Jews believer will follow or will believe or will obey the command of Neron Caesar or Caesar Nero, it will be an act of unfaithful to God. It will be an act disrespectful to God. So it has nothing to do with microchip. It has nothing to do with the barcode. John was speaking about the feeling. So again, I say, Revelation is a sign language between John and his reader. And his reader will understand whatever sign language because they were in the same page. For us right now, we try to understand it in our thinking, in our way, in our mindset. And also, we have been a lot influenced by Western thinking, whereas we need Jewish thinking to help us to understand it better. Now, before I end up this video, I want to conclude few 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 things. The first, the book of Revelation reveals something to the first leader, but it might hidden for us as maybe the second or maybe the thousand reader, and then we have been living more than 2000 years, so we might away far away from the mindset of the first reader. I mean, So that's why it is hard for us to understand what John tried to say, what John intention to his reader. So in order to go deeper, to understand as the first reader understand the book of Revelation, we need to learn some. It doesn't mean need to be the whole Jewish culture. It doesn't need. But if you have that kind of time to learn and also references and resources, it is very recommended because it will help you a lot to understand better. But again, my point here, I want to show some of the clue to help us to understand the book of Revelation. That's the main idea. And then when we speak the book of, like Revelation 12 verse 13 verse 18, and also 16, some of the people say it speak about Antichrist. But in John mindset or in John thought or John thinking, when he speak when he spoke the Antichrist is to come, he speak about religious or political leader, but it not necessarily always religious or political leader. But this leader will hate Christian and also will try to oppose the Messiah and the Christ, even try to claim that he himself is a God. When John used anti-Christoi, that will be false prophet and false teachers. But in the verse 18, the only possibility we'll find is the first meaning. But also, it was not a secret for the first reader. They know who he was. They know exactly, just to eliminate or to reduce some of the problem causes by mentioning his name in this letter, or in the book of Revelation. That will cause some of the problem. By mentioning it in a secret way, it will eliminate some of the problem. So the mark T stigma speak about Neron Caesar, Caesar Nero. So for the first reader, they know exactly who he was. They know. But for us, since we live far away from the context, some of the people try to understand it in their way. That's mostly we try to do. And that's why we found out after we learn a lot and we go deeper, we realize that we made a mistake. But anyway, that's the proof we study. So T stigma, we fruit it through gematria. John was speaking about Neron Caesar or Caesar Nero. And then in the verse 16, speak about the mark on the right hand. You might also heard, or some people also believe it will be implanted like microchip or something else. Right now, uh, right now, vaccine, you know, corona vaccine, because it has barcode in it. They say like that will be the mark of the beast. It is funny actually, but the question is there any relationship between the mark John speak with the microchip right now or barcode? There is none relationship at all because as I have shown you before that John spoke about Tefillah. Tefillah is a sign, I mean, like a reminder that each Israel, each Jew will be faithful to God, each Jew will be give respect and honor to God when they worship God. What happened if we switch it to the right hand? That means that will be an act of unfaithfulness to God and also an act disrespectful or offense to God. So it has nothing to do with the microchip. So I have also some of the references here. I will show it. And then actually I still have some of the ebook which is I haven't listed here, but at least these references will help you guys to understand better. So of course this is the some of the resources in Indonesia since I have shared this one in Indonesian before and now I converted it to English. Hopefully this will help you guys wherever you are. Uh, my prayer, this will help you understand. At least you have right now the clue how to learn more deep about the book of Revelation. So if you have any comment or you might have any question, feel free to ask in the column. If you like this video, please push the button and also share to others, okay? And also, I don't know whether I will be sharing also in few languages, but hopefully, since in this channel there is like short devotion each morning and each night, and also some of the special section, but will be in Indonesian. But anyway, guys, feel free if you want to subscribe. I promise that whatever I share in Indonesia, I will try also share it in English in case some of the people outside there they are looking for the answer. In case one of my teaching will be an answer for them. But we'll see as time goes on if as this channel will be growing, we will see whether I need to put one more channel, special in English. But anyway, for right now, we just keep it here because it's not easy to maintain. Like right now, I have two channels, but it won't be easy to maintain three channel. But at least two is okay. But feel free, even if in Indonesian is okay. Okay. Anyway, once again, thank you so much for paying attention for this teaching. Hopefully, this one is insightful for you. My prayer, God bless you. I will see you in the next teachings. Bye.